So we're so glad you all are here because this is going to be a fabulous panel. So thank you guys for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Listen, this is the future of AI is female. Women shaping the next generation of tech, the next revolution of tech. Today we're going to explore one key question. What happens when the people designing AI doesn't quite reflect the people it serves? Okay, we're going to dive into that with this incredible panel. AI now shapes healthcare, it shapes education, finance, communication, all of the ways that we work. Yet the perspectives building these systems remain far too narrow. So today, our incredible group of leading ladies, we're going to talk about the shift toward ethical, inclusive, and human-centered AI. All right, and so before we get started, I'm going to have all of the ladies. I would love for you to just give maybe a one-sentence blurb on who you are, where you're from, and your lens regarding this topic. We'll start with you, Shilpa.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kim. So I'm Shilpa Chindiala, and I'm Chief AI Officer of True ID Private Limited. We work on digital KYC biometrics for the leading fintech banks, and I'm here to share my experiences on how best we can train our models to really represent the 100% population. Yeah.
Thank you, Shilpa. I'm already loving the energy of the audience and the panel. My name is Khushbu. I'm the CEO and founder of AI Voyage Partner. We are a transformation consultancy who's focused on human first AI, where humans are given the importance rather than AI. And we help to train employees on industry based AI. So, yeah, looking forward for the discussion. Thank you so much. Over to you, Nazik. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Nazik, and I am the head of smart learning in Mohammed bin Zayed University. And I'm also the founder of Moji AI Solutions. And we're working with EdTech and training solutions. We're using AI in education. And today I'm really happy to be here, and I love the energy as well.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Lucimar. I'm from Australia. I am a best-selling author. My book is AI for Women. I'm also Australian Meditech champion. And I am the founder of Amar AI, a platform built specifically for human connection.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. So let's get started. We'll start with you, Shilpa. So what are the risks? What risks are we already seeing because women are missing from AI design?
Hey, Kim, thank you for the question. And definitely, this topic is very deeply emotional for me. Initially, when FUELD asked me to talk about this, I was like, I don't think we will have many points. But really, when I really explored, it's like too important, critical for us, for all of us to know this.
Yes.
So first thing is something you're seeing unique here, first ever in the corporate world, where all of us are women here. But how many rooms in our corporate world really have so many women? We have been seeing so many panels from morning, 5 to 6 men, one women. But how is the population? It is 50% women, right? Meaning AI is used by, again, 50% women. But is it really representing the 100% population? So let us discuss. So as per the research, there have been hiring algorithms, hiring models, which have been rejecting women because they have mentioned women's as the word in the resume. So do you imagine a person's resume has not even reached the hiring panel just because they used the word women's in their resume? Okay, and that model was brought down by a prominent company because of this bias. And why did this bias happen? Then again, in another healthcare system, where it detects the thoracic. I mean, thoracic test is for women, right? Generally, but it detects more accurately for men over women. And whenever it is suggesting treatments, it is suggesting more accurate treatments for men than women. Heart diseases were misdiagnosed for women. Let's say about the education institutes. There were models deployed to really understand who would be the early dropouts, and they would be rejected for the university, right? In STEM, it's a common assumption that, okay, women would drop out, right? But is it really the case for everyone? But most of the models are being trained based on this historical data, which is almost 10 years older. But are the situations the same? And are we really building the right AI systems? AI systems act based on our training, our decision algorithms, and the user feedback loops. But whatever is existing in our real life system, wherein the gender bias is there, that is being sown into the AI and it is amplified. Whereas from morning we have been listening AI, that, this, and all, meaning every step of our life has become AI now, but it has biases in it. So it is very important that we really realize this importance and act on it. One example which I can say is navigator apps. We use navigator apps, right? They were built very efficiently, very fast, and accurately, and almost all our lives are dependent on that. But are they really talking about the safety, unlit areas, or the safe zones? Which is very much important, right? At least for the developing countries where women are facing atrocities, they might need that information, right? But was it really woven into the systems? Yes, few have, but they're really not doing the needful. Especially me being from India, we do see some cases where women have undergone few atrocities because they were not knowing where they were heading to. They were getting into the dark areas and all. So this system might have been designed in a room where women might not have was there in the room, right? So if only the woman was there, her perspective would have been sown into the system, and maybe like we would have better systems, right? So it's very important that we actually consider the diversity, 50% diversity, inclusivity into the systems. So all the startup owners here, whatever you're building, I would suggest it's really important you have evaluation metrics, whatever KPIs we are talking. Maybe you can consider even this, the biases, ensuring that the biases are not there in the systems. Because remember, these systems are going to be used for future generations where really that bias we do not want to have, right? And I would really yeah. I would really want to pass it to the other panel members so that we can hear more on the same.
That really gives us the groundwork. That data shows that this is not just imaginary. This is not an imaginary problem. And it's something that we may not even think about. Many people are using AI to add appointments to their calendar or automate a task, but we're not really cognizant that there's some bias that might affect populations. So, Kushbu, you have worked across multiple sectors in AI, and now you have founded a company. What changes when AI includes more women? And why does it make AI work better?
Thank you, Kim, for the question. So I had the fortune to work in different kind of industries like energy or be it manufacturing or fintech. But I think this is the only space that demands equality. Now, let me give you an example. Imagine your mom. What contribution does she give in your family? What would be the answer? Huge, right? You will not say it's me. So she might be the best finance manager that you have seen in your family. At the same time, she takes the best care of the family. And tomorrow, if you bring a new appliance or a new tool to your family, she makes sure that it's right for the family and she takes care that it's actually taking care. There is no security issues and everything is taken care of. And if your kids are sent to a new skill set development program, she makes sure that you get the right teacher, the right instructor. At the same time, she ensures that it's rightly fit into your routine. And she can be very, very gentle and she can be very strict at the times. So she makes sure that the rules are also maintained at home. Similarly, is what happens when you include more women in your work. We not only run behind ROI, we care about the people behind it. We not only think about the systems, we think that it is maintained well. I've seen in my teams where people are running across saying that, is it performing well? But we make sure that, is it maintained well? We see that the feedback is going well. Now, thinking about the creativity, we bring in a lot of tools and stack into our company, but we make sure, is that working well? Is the security being taken care of? And I've studied a research in which it's said that in banking and in marketing, there is a very nice analogy where they say that they purposefully keep female at the leadership positions because they know that these sectors are vulnerable and they would not take risks at any cost. So, and we also give a lot of importance for work, at the same time ethics. So I think if you want a 360-degree growth, then you would include a lot of women in the team. And I see that AI is that space which demands that. You wouldn't want a model which is very skewed. Would you want it? No, right? You wouldn't want a model that is biased. So AI is the only space where I see that that equality is demanded. And I'm not talking about people who focuses only on cognitive intelligence, but on people who focuses on emotional intelligence too. So I think the world is ready for it.
That's great. Listen, that is when women shape the system versus the system shaping women. I think it's a better outcome, but based on what you just shared, that is so important. So we're going to take a look at the lack of women in AI and what that really means. And Lusamar, you have a very interesting label for this. I love it. It's a data era or a market failure when women are missing from AI. Please expound upon that, when women are missing from the AI architecture and what single thing organizations must do now to help this situation.
Okay. Well, a future led by women is a future that finally recognizes and understands marketing reality at global scale. Today, most AI systems are trained on data sets representing only a fraction of humanity. This is not just bias, it's poor data quality. And poor data quality is the most expensive bug in technology. You see this across Africa, Asia, Latin America, and even here in the Middle East. AI struggles with dialects, cultural nuances, and fails patients in healthcare settings. This is not merely an inclusion issue. It is commercial inefficiency. The technology is not fit for purpose. And why? Because it uses assumptions imported from elsewhere. It's called, to me, digital colonization, which is not an accusation. Unfortunately, it is a mathematical consequence of training models on shallow systems. We start building technology that factually, when women lead development, we stop building generic and shallow systems. We start building technology that factually reflects the population it serves. I got my notes.
Take your time.
That is the pathway to sovereign intelligence. It is technology that actually mirrors linguistic, cultural, and economic reality. When innovation is anchored in the reality of its people, it becomes a catalyst to true human advancement. And answering your second question, Skin, the second question, the most effective action is this one. Mandate a demographic test at the architecture phase, not at the audit phase. There is one question that actually unlocks everything. Who these systems fail, and how costly is this failure? Before a single line of the code is written, map failures pathways across gender, age, culture, fate, and abilities. Every segment must be represented. When these patterns are representing most of the world's population are absent from your training data, as mentioned before, nations lose sovereignty over how their people are decoded by machines. At my company, Amar AI, we use the same principle that governs clinical grade safety. What does that mean? No system is approved without stress testing its failure.
Very true.
We design safety into the architecture. We do not add it at the end. AI systems that shape how billions of people connect, work, learn, and make decisions deserve exactly the same discipline. When us, and diverse architects are involved from the foundation, something remarkable happens. Diversity stops being a compliance checkbox and becomes capital efficiency. You stop burning billions on systems that misreads the very population they claim to serve. Actually, we must build systems that reflect humanity in its full spectrum. That's how you create a sovereign AI ecosystem, one with the social and geopolitical sensitivity, not to exploit, but to empower humankind. Thank you.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. Listen, all of those frameworks you share with us, all those actions show that this is not a problem that is unsolvable. This is not a zero sum to infinity, it'll never be solved. There are things and actions that we can take now to actually help ease some of the bias that we find that is in AI in all industries. And one of those industries includes education. And we're going to talk about that with Dr. Nazik.
Thank you.
As AI enters the classroom, what approaches do women leaders bring to protect student well-being, reduce bias, and support ethical decision-making?
Interesting question. Thank you. When we talk about AI in education, we often focus on the speed and the efficiency, right? But the real question is, who's designing these systems? And what are the values are these systems being shaped on, right? That's where the female leadership becomes very critical. From my experience in working with universities, okay, when women lead in AI development, they change the conversation. It becomes towards people, not just technology. So they have a different viewpoint. They have questions that they ask. Does this tool support students' well-being? Is it cultural appropriate for the learners? And does it really reduce the biases? So these questions women bring into the development phase. In the Arab region, we cannot just copy-paste global AI tools and make them work for us, right? Some of these global tools, they don't consider the dialect, they don't consider the language, they don't consider the religion. So there's a lot of biases in these tools. And when the training was done, if it was a woman, I'm not saying that men don't, but I'm saying that women have this prospect where they can see things and they make sure that they cover all the aspects that cover the well-being of students, the well-being of the learners in the education. And like you talked about it earlier, that women, as mothers or as sisters or as parents, they make sure that everything is holistically covered. They don't want to something that doesn't work for their kids or something that doesn't work. So they ask questions and that many overlook when they're developing, such as, will students be learning different, will students with learning difficulties be supported? Are they protecting the data of those learners? And what's left behind if we deploy this tool? Who's left behind? Because we're talking about inclusivity, we're talking about accessibility, we're talking about people of inclusion. So are they left behind when we build these tools? So these things are not an easy thing. They're all about empathy. And empathy is not just a soft skill. It's a design requirement. Okay, so naturally decision-making, when women lead in creation, students feel represented. They feel seen. And AI becomes a tool that supports learning than just simply automating it. If we want AI to truly improve education, we need more women building it, because when women lead, it becomes safer, fairer, and more meaningful for every student across the world. In higher education, I see daily how AI is used and how it's affecting the well-being of students, especially when it trusts and academic integrity. One lesson is very clear. Ethical AI is not automated. It's intentional. Women leaders usually bring a strong sense of responsibility in the AI design. Okay, we ask questions that keep systems very safe, especially during the training phase when we're deploying any kind of AI project. Who might be harmed? These are the questions. Who might be harmed? Who could bias appear? I mean, where could the biases appear? Are valuable students, are they valuable to this, vulnerables to the students? Are the students' vulnerability protected? How do we keep humans in decision making? Because we talk about AI doing a lot of things, but are we really covering the human aspects of it? Are students using it ethically right? So these things need to be covered in the deployment phase where women are thinking about it. And these questions shape the healthier ecosystems. In education sector, students are not just users, they're developing minds. They come with different backgrounds, privileges, and pressures. So women tend to push for AI that respects privacy, encourages fairness, and protects their emotional and academic well-being for every learner. Okay? Another strength of female leadership is bringing diverse voices into the process, because we come from different cultures, we come from different backgrounds, and women often involve educators like psychologists, cultural experts, and not just engineers. This makes ethical decision-making more complete and more relevant to real classrooms. The real contribution women bring in the ability to balance innovation with care. And we design AI that meet ethical expectations and not just technical requirements. And that balance is exactly where higher education need to adopt AI with confidence. So when women lead in education, we don't just build smart systems. We build safer, fairer, and more human systems. And that is the kind of AI students deserve.
Yes, love that. Love that. Give her a hand. Yes, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
It's amazing how AI, as we have shared, affects every industry from education. And education is where the next generation is going to be using what we leave them. And we don't want to leave them with systems that are filled with so much bias that it's very complicated to get that bias out, for them to start from such a depth of bias. But we not only see this bias in education, we also see it in my industry, which is marketing and advertising. And a lot of times when we talk about AI bias, it becomes a male versus female discussion. But I want to offer that it's not that. AI bias is actually a dollars and cents discussion. Why? Because if most households, the decision buying is female, and you have so much bias baked into the system, marketers, advertisers will ultimately spend more money trying to target leads and customers if they use a faulty AI system. And AI is everywhere in marketing. There's AI automations, AI is everywhere. We use it all the time. But you also want marketers not to have to work so hard to find your clients, to manage your ad spend, because we now have to become bias police in addition to your budget police. We want to make sure we're spending your ad dollars properly. So this situation actually becomes a dollars and cents, depending on the industry. It becomes a dollars and cents issue, not just a male or female issue. So listen, thank you to all of the panelists. We're going to give the audience a chance to ask any questions, but AI can't reach its full potential if it continues to be built from a narrow perspective. Women bring fairness, nuance, lived context that this moment actually requires. And I'll leave you with this, that the future of AI is female because the present reflects builders and not always the buyers. So we're going to open up for the audience to have any questions that you may want to ask the panelists at this time. Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
So my question is to the panel. When you say, I've been hearing about bias, right? When you say women to be more into AI, do you want to say that it has to be more empathetic, and that is where we are heading? The AI technology as a whole, is that going to tackle bias?
Repeat that part. More women, and say it one more time for me.
Considering women is more about the representation of women is more towards empathy, right? So is that going to be the future of AI? Is that going to tackle the bias?
I'll take the.
Okay, Coach.
Yeah. That's one factor I think would be considered, but it's not only empathy. Obviously, empathy would that role is coming to be. That's the next thing for sure. But I think a lot of aspects are being undermined at the moment. Like it's. I've been a person who was the only lady in a room of 25 men. It's very difficult to be in that room. It's not easy. Like if you speak like a woman, they start looking at you. What is she speaking? So that perspective itself to come into a room takes a lot of time. So it's not alone about empathy. There are so many other factors that we bring in. I remember that I walked into the CTO's room and I've been discussing about the team, and it was about people, their skill set, how it was being utilized and how it is underutilized. What was the way that we have gone? And he said, "You are a strategist." I said, "No, I'm a leader." I think we don't have that factor. Like women have lot, exactly like the example that I've given. Like it's not about the numbers alone. So if you get into a boardroom, I've been into boardrooms, it's always about numbers. Where is the ROI? How are you going to get back that money that you have invested in this AI project? Every time this is the discussion that's going on, not even in GCC, globally it's the thing. Like where is the money that's gone? Why is it failing? It's not failing because we haven't done the work. It's not because of the expertise. It's just because people are scared to use AI. There is a lot of problem in imbibing AI. They feel that it's replacing humans, and there are a lot of people who promote that, saying that we are going to replace you. It's not the fact. But I think if women, as you rightly said, if that person who's, I'm not saying women are the only person who's having that empathy. There are a lot of men who are doing that, but they are not able to show it up in a group of men when they are sitting in the boardrooms, because the main focus is always on the numbers. And I remember when we were thinking about bringing a new technology, I said, you can bring this tech stack, but remember the team had to spend a lot of hours in relearning that and bringing that into the system. There is a lot of workforce that's required. Why did I say that? It's because my quality was ingrained in empathy. It's not because the other men was not doing that, but they are driven with numbers, and the whole group is driven with the numbers. So these things have to come there. So yeah, I can pass it on to Shilpa. Let's let her hear her also.
Yeah, so I do agree. It's not exactly about the empathy. Empathy is one of the factors. But imagine the 50% of the population's perspective might be missing in the designs. If you remember the Samsung watches, when I went to buy, I got a bigger dial watch. Why? So let us think, like, this is a question to all of us. Why was a watch where even I'm supposed to wear, even I do want to track my fitness and all, why was it so big that I can't wear it? Right? Coming to iPhone, it tracks all the vitals, but it never tracked the menstrual cycles. Why? Because there were no questions about it in the room while the design was happening. What if 50% of the boardroom is really the 50% representing the population? We might have all the perspectives, right? Or how can men think about what we are experiencing, right? We might be experiencing some safety concerns when we are working at 9 or 10 in the night. Maybe men may never know that fear, right? Or whatever, like we experience pregnancy like that. There are many aspects which we do face, which men might not know, and which really are needed in the design. So it's always good to really have that representation during the design itself. Because as on today's statistics speak, where 12 to 15% of the AI leadership is women, meaning the remaining 85% is men. Meaning, wherever these critical decisions have to happen, there's no representation. Definitely, we'll be missing on those perspectives. Coming to the AI developers or the data analysts, it's only 26% globally. So, how are we really justifying the systems which we are building now for the future? Whereas we are talking AI everywhere. Even a 10-year child is going to the chat GPT and asking questions. Whereas it is woven with all the gender bias. Now we are talking about gender, so I'm just pointing that out. But there are many biases, so we need to really go
Yeah.
out of this room thinking with how can we minimize these biases, whatever biases are existing, let us minimize while building itself.
While building, that's the key word, not after. This is what's happening right now. We're doing counter crisis. Now
That's
AI
good.
is released to the
Yeah.
world, and then suddenly we're finding that one kid just committed suicide because ChatGPT told
Told them
him to.
how. That's
So
right.
these things, why weren't they trained before? So these things are very critical in our life, and as women, we see these things. We foresee the child's getting hurt before they do it. So we're making sure that the home is safe. We're making sure that he's playing in a good surrounding. We're making sure this round table is round, not edges. So this is what women bring into the table. They bring safety, well-being, fairness, transparency, ethical
So
stuff.
true. That is a great example. I don't know a mother anywhere in tech who would not say, hey, if a child asks this question, we don't want the accuracy of how to commit suicide, how to unalive yourself. That's not the goal here. Any other questions?
There's a question down there.
Hello. I just want to thank you guys for such an insightful conversation and dialogue. One of the things that I continue to hear from you all is the importance of the perspective of women and the mindfulness of women in AI at the beginning, at the developmental stages of creating the technology and the products. How can organizations ensure that through talent acquisition and in the boardrooms and within their teams that women are properly represented and that the perspective of all are included as they're building out the AI technology within the products and services?
Anyone?
Okay, I'll take this one. I think when we're doing a recruitment, we usually think about, like she said, the return on investment all the time. So when we recruit, we always ask these tough questions and how good are you? How efficient are you? How much of a speed you're going to bring this product to life and all this. But we should include more women in the hiring process. Not that I know a lot of biases happen in HR recruiting because women have a lot of days off, motherhood and illness and sickness because of the kids or anything. But this should not stop us. We should not be biased in that sense. We should hire more women if they have the talent, if they're capable, and not just consider the financial aspects of the thing. And I believe that we are an example. We've been working really hard to get to where we are, and we've done a lot. And we've been mothers. All of us are mothers and women, and we worked really hard to make a difference in the world. And I believe that all of us are very well accomplished in their business, and we are here is a stamp, like to show that we.
I just want to add to her. I don't know if how many of you were there for the session just before. It was on marketing strategy or something. There were 5 men and 1 lady here. And I felt that the lady was speaking very interesting and it stood out. If you have noticed, she was speaking about emotions, connect, story, feedback. Did all other 5 men, I'm not quoting like men versus female, but see what value she is bringing. And the story was so good to hear because she was giving a storyline, but all others were saying, you are the hero. I understand what they are making point, but she had a storyline. So I think this is the value that women bring in. So they adds, they connect the dots, and I think it's worth it to have them.
Awesome, awesome. Well, listen, thank you, ladies. If there are no more, one more
just last question. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay, so I agree. Empathy is one point where you say that if you have empathy, we have more empathy towards others. But don't you think it's because we now, as women, have more purchasing power than before, and we are the customers, and men don't understand us? Full stop. So women are the one who has to lead it. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's globally 70 to 80% of buying decisions, even if it's a male-centered product, the woman is giving, hey, babe, I think it'd be great if you look at this.
Their decisions might change.
Exactly. So it's very, very important to have that voice because the voice of the buyer, male or female, but the statistics are what they are, the voice of the buyer is where the purse is controlled. You want your ad budget, you want your product sold, you gotta talk the language of the buyer. And you cannot, if you go mute there, your return on investment will also go mute. And no CEO, male or female, wants that to happen. If there are no
Thank
more
you.
questions, we appreciate you all for being here with us. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Great discussion. I love
Appreciate
it.
you.